Welcome to the Change Your Mindset and Build That Course free training. And why is my slide not changing? Hang on, there we go. So welcome. So tonight what we're going to be doing, we're going to review ways your mind is holding you back from building your courses. Now we're taking this from a few different angles, and then after that I will tell you guys how we can work together a little bit more on course building, and then we can do a Q&A session. So before we get into the content, this is me. I'll give you a quick little introduction. So I've spent the last 9 years building programs and live events. Originally that was for teenagers, but I've also run events for Smartline mortgage brokers, IT support teams. I've trained Bowen therapists, PTs, and I'm really passionate about training being delivered well. And I'm passionate about coaching and learning why we do what we do. Before I ventured into having my own business, I worked in senior roles in retail, and I was always involved in training. So I've been studying coaching and healing modalities for 10 years. I run online NLP trainings for the Life Coaching Academy. I have the Coach's Brainery, where we do a lot of coaching program work, a lot of mentoring, and all of these awesome things online, whole heap of programs and really cool things that I love to do. But guess what? I very nearly didn't. I was terrified of the tech involved in going online. Absolutely terrified. I had never worked with PowerPoint really, so I didn't know how to do PowerPoint. The idea of like recording programs and putting them somewhere on the internet, it was a totally foreign concept to me. I was somebody that was not raised with computers and technology. My high school was, we had like two rooms with computers in it, and that was it for like all of the year levels. I didn't send my first email until I was like 28. So I had a business partner that pushed me painfully into learning how to go online with our work. Live events, not a problem. Give me an audience, I'm there. But this kind of stuff freaked me out. And there was no rational reason behind it. I used to cry before having to go and run a live call to do a training. I would put off building slides. And even then when I built the slides and scripted out the course, I would rehearse over and over and over and over and over because I was so worried that I would stuff it up. Because in my mind, you make a mistake, there's no forgiveness, all right? Because I was like, especially starting out, I was all or nothing, bit of a perfectionist. But it wasn't the end of the world, right? So here I am, and I actually love it because I now know what I have to do with the mindset part of any of this kind of creation to be able to get it done. So this is why I'm really excited about tonight's call. Now, for you guys, right? You're here, you're in business, or you want to be in business. You're probably doing a lot of one-on-one. You may be running an online group. You may have not yet built your course though. Or you may have launched a course and not quite gotten the result that you want. Either way, there's so much value that I want to give to you guys tonight. But I know you love your work. You love your clients. And I know you have a bigger purpose because that's why you're here, because you want to push through the mindset wobbles that can hold you back. And it is really important because you guys want to make a difference. You do. And you totally get that by helping people, by running a class, by being able to connect and serve more people in one go, it helps more people. It spreads your message. And look, let's be honest here as well. This isn't, we're not completely like these selfless beings doing everything for nothing. We also have a business. We want to make money. And when we do programs, we get back some time. We're still helping and serving and working to our mission and our purpose, but we can also have a bit of a life as well. So it's smart to offer a program. I'm stoked because I've built this up now that I have clients across the globe, Sweden, Luxembourg, clients in the UK, and I wouldn't have been able to do it if I hadn't have gotten over the freaking mindset wobbles, right? So before we progress, Oh, and in case you're wondering about this picture, I shaved my head January 2015 to raise money for an animal charity because I wanted to make a difference. It was something that I was passionate about. And I imagine you guys are this passionate about your work too. Maybe you wouldn't shave your head, but we raised $5,500. And I did that because I cared. And I feel like everyone I know on this, who's on this call, you care that much too. So let's get through these mindset wobbles. But what I really want you to do now, for a moment, close your eyes, put your hand on your heart, and imagine how it could look for you if you haven't quite gotten it yet, or you haven't quite gotten the result that you want yet, you haven't quite built the course, wherever you're at, which is the perfect space for you to be at. I just want you to think for a moment and feel, how could it look for you to have an online course? More time with your family, a little bit more money in the bank, that satisfaction of serving more people, because it's different and the same for all of us. So I wanted you to really, really feel that. Because when your focus isn't right, and I know when my mindset and focus isn't right, I kind of begin to sit down and build a course, let alone sell it, let alone present it, let alone run it. And you may have experienced it. And feel free to type in the chat box if you've experienced this, a yes. You sit down, you know you've got an idea there, and maybe you had a little flash of inspiration earlier, like, oh, that would be a great course. And you sit down, it's gone, just gone. So you get that little anxious rush and you know it's going to be great. And seriously, this has happened to me too. You know you wanted to do it, but then doubt raises its head. Maybe it wasn't that good an idea. Maybe you check Facebook, right? Or you check your email. Maybe you go to the fridge and eat some chocolate. I don't know. But you were there. So then you park the idea and you're like, you know what? I'll get back to it. Famous last words. I'll get back to it. And I know there's some people here that you've built them. Maybe it's the thought of sharing it in public that might create those same feelings like, how am I going to share it? Who am I going to share it with? What am I going to do? Maybe I need to fine tune it. That's a great one. I say that to myself a little bit too with some of the stuff that I've got on the side that you guys haven't seen yet. It's not quite right yet. You're seeing a little bit of a pattern here. You get the idea, get the inspiration, you're ready to go. It's like, and then something shifts in you and you stop. Maybe it's like, maybe you call it self-sabotage. We're gonna talk about that. But when it's there, when you've got the clarity, when you know what you're doing, you move past the mind blanks, you move past the wobbles, you get through the nerves, and you stop doubting yourself because you know your stuff and you know it's going to be fantastic and you know it's what your people need. It feels amazing. You get that clarity of thought and the confidence to build or even to outline. And you get to dare to dream about what it is, what you're building, that it's amazing. When you have that, you're like, I'm on fire, I'm unstoppable. It's the best feeling. So tonight, I'm going to take you through that very first step of working through those wobbles. We're going to look at three things. We're going to have a look at your language, your self-talk. We're going to have a look at the hind brain and self-sabotage. And then what we're going to do is see how you connect the brain and the goal together, and that actually will remove the self-sabotage and the overwhelm. So we've got a couple of really cool things. This is what I teach in my first e-course. This is what I remind myself of whenever I have wobbles. And a little tip, this isn't only just for course building. This is relevant to so many areas of our life. So are we ready? Type a little yes or like a little high five. Let's go, Sparkles. Stop talking. Just tell me the stuff in the chat box and I'll get moving because I'm so excited about this stuff. All right. Let's have a look at your language. Let's have a look at your self-talk. I know there's lots of people who do coaching and mindset and, work with amazing, yummy clients, and you're here on the call. I don't want to insult you, but let's refresh on this. And I use but, and that just automatically negates what I said. So excuse the but. Let's have a look at your language. I know I have to remind myself of this. So hopefully this is a good reminder for all of us. These are the kinds of things you may say to yourself when you think about building a course. I don't know what to do. It's too big. It's overwhelming. What if I build this course and it isn't actually any good? What if no one buys it? I actually don't know how to teach. Shit. I better not do it. Like, ugh. So you can feel like the confusion and the doubt and the uncertainty. And the more you say this, the more you program yourself, the harder it's going to be to do it. And you know what? 3 or 4 years ago, these were the exact same things that I was saying. And I was crying and I was having hissy fits and I was eating to like not have to face it. And I was doing all of the things, but just sitting down and building the course. You may or may not resonate with that. I would like you guys, feel free, because I want this to be interactive. I don't want to only be talking at you guys. Type into the chat box what comes to mind when you think about building a course or launching a course. What are those things? Let's have a bit of a reframe around it. If anyone wants to share, let's give ourselves a new approach. So feel free to type some stuff in. And while you're typing, if everyone's good, that's fine too. Here's some other things, right? I don't know what to do. What if I could find out what to do? What if it isn't any good? What if my first go gives me an opportunity to improve? What if no one buys it? Well, what if someone does? I don't know how to teach. How could I learn how to teach? Oh, okay. Chat's going off tap here. All right. Keep thinking of doing it, starting it, and then go nowhere. Yep. What if this course, I can't keep up with everyone, isn't sufficiently different to what other people are teaching? What if this course is taught in my unique voice and approach, so it doesn't matter what anyone else is teaching? That was Raquel's. Anna, I don't have time. It's too big and I don't have the tech skills. What if I could make 15 minutes a day and find a way to break it down and make it small and easy so then I can get somebody to help me with the tech? That was for Anna. Leanne, I'm concerned that peeps may not think they're getting value. What are they expecting? What questions can I ask before I build the course to find out what it is that people need? How can I set benchmarks in this course to make sure I hit the value points? That's for Leanne. Julie, I have run them. My stick bit is getting enough signups. What would happen if I looked beyond my usual frameworks and my usual networks to ask for help? And it's really interesting you've brought this one up today, Julie, because in my coaching session, I was like, we were crunching the numbers and just me and Tash and talking about stuff like that. And she's like, well, what would happen if you just went for it and said, I'm getting 300 signups for my launch process, and decided? Because then once the decision is made, it's like, okay, well, how can I actually make this happen now? So maybe a bit of a reframe around the language there might actually help. Lack of time for Chantel. For me, with everything else I've got going on, it's overwhelm and I wouldn't want to disappoint the others. What if it's going to sound like a smack, but what if you're disappointing people by not actually creating something for them? Sorry, that sounds a bit harsh. For me, everything else, lack of time. What could happen if I found a way to, sorry, my little chat box moved. What could happen with everything else I've got going on? It's overwhelmed. What could happen if I could find a way to make this process easy? What could happen if there was a way for it to be simple? And then tech, so much new tech each time. I know, Dominique, there's so much tech. You're working from dawn to dusk to market them. So, you know what my thing is? What would happen if I only marketed one course but sold everything that I have? Now, I know there's slightly different niches and directed for different people because your courses are so beautiful and amazing, Dominic. I love your work. But what could happen if I could find a way to simplify the technology so I could show up and be the talent and tell people about my courses? So like, I mean, I may not have quite nailed these things for you, but it's opening up the possibility, because we're looking at all of these things. I can't do it because. It's like, how could I do it? How could I make it happen? What would I need to ask? Who would I need to ask? Like, I will quite often say to myself, you know, there's a few things. It's like, what's that one small step that I could take? And this ties into the overwhelm and what we're going to talk about with the hind brain. So what's one small, simple thing I could do to get me started? What's, like, on my coaching call today, I'm like, I actually don't know what question I need to ask. This is all the stuff I've done, and I don't know why my thing's not moving forward. So I asked my coach. So maybe it's also the quality of the questions. It really is the quality of the questions that we ask ourselves and we ask others. So let's start thinking and being aware of our self-talk and aware of the language that we're using around the course, because as we go through this process, you'll actually see how it ties into these next few things that we're going to go through as well. So, Dominic, Sound Healing Academy, speaker coaching, I think I often market the wrong thing to the market, but you're getting better. Look, it's a test and measure thing. Like, if you guys aren't inspirited and sparkly, feel free to pop in. We talk about testing and measuring and tracking and looking at the data and the results. Multi-potentialite. I like that, darling. Much better. If you knew some of the courses I had ready to launch that I haven't launched, like, you'd be like, wow, Trudy, that's not a Trudy course. Anyway, I digress. The next thing we're going to talk about, I get way too conversational. Let's talk about your hind brain, right? Now, the hind brain is pretty awesome. It keeps you safe. It's that part of the brain. It actually has access to 80% of our energy. It's the fight or flight or freeze part. It's the bit that's always looking out to make sure you don't, like, step out in front of a car on the road, right? Here's the thing. This is why this is relevant to us where we're stuck with course building. New ideas freak it out. Doesn't like new stuff, doesn't like things that it's not confident with. It's like, no, I don't know this thing. I don't know online courses. You've never sat down and built a course before, and you're not confident with it. And what if something happens and I can't keep you safe? So we need to learn to work with our hind brain. And Raquel's awesome stuff with, like, the nervous system, the work she does. So when she builds her course, check it out. Little plug for you there. But this is how I think of the hind brain. And my coach one of my coaches told me this, and I think it's awesome. Your hind brain is like your security team, right? So here's a little story about the hind brain. You wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, I'm going to go for a walk. Like, maybe you're in a new city and you've never been there. And you're like, oh, I don't know where I'm going. I'm going to go for a walk. And you get up and you get ready and you go to walk to the door. And then you're like, I might check Facebook first. This is your hind brain. This is your security system going, we don't know what's coming up. We don't know the next thing that's going to happen. We need to keep her safe. So we're going to suggest to her that she needs to check Facebook before she goes out there, because we don't know what's out there. She goes to checks Facebook. And you're like, oh, I'm going to go for that walk. Oh, you get up and you're like, security's like, we still don't know what's out there. She doesn't have a map. She doesn't have a plan. She's going out there and it's not safe. We don't know how to keep her safe. So it'll make you think, oh, actually, before I go, I might have a sandwich. Go and have a sandwich. Scroll Facebook. And so this is what we call self-sabotage, because we're not doing the thing we say we want to do, but it's actually the hind brain keeping us safe. Now, we're going to talk a little bit more about this. It loves us. It's got the maturity level. Somebody told me it's like a 5-year-old child. Like, they don't really get the bigger concepts. They just know, keep you safe. Now, the hind brain, this is where overwhelm comes in as well. So if you're overwhelmed, I don't know where to start, like the hindbrain is going to freak out. Ties in with your nervous system and everything. It's like it's freaking out. It's going, you're overwhelmed. You don't know. I don't know. Like, oh. And if you want to get past the overwhelm, here is, and I said it before, I always say to myself, if the picture's too big, if the thought of like, I need to build a course, I don't know where to start. Oh, what do I do? Like, you're going overwhelmed. All you need to do is go, okay, well, what's this one step that I could do to get me started? You do that one step. See, the hindbrain, it likes to have like, good 24 hours sort of planning there. And if you're like freaking out and courses and this and that, it's like, it can't plan. It's like, ugh. So if you sit down and go, what's that next thing that I can do? You know what? I'll grab a pen, paper, I jot down some ideas. See what comes up. All of a sudden, it knows what's coming up. It knows you're going to the desk. It knows you're pulling out a piece of paper and a pen. You're going to write some stuff. Calms the heck down. So we want to understand where this sabotage and overwhelm comes from and how to calm it down and how to work with it. So for the coaches, you'll probably recognize this as chunking. Breaking it down to the smallest, most next immediate step. Your hindbrain calms down because it knows what you're doing. It lets you do it. Does that make sense? Are there any questions about that before we move on? Please feel free to type them into the chat box. Cool. I'll keep going then. So what we're going to do now, we're going to pull that language, the visioning, the hindbrain. We're going to look at how you can actually use your physiology to start actually creating the space in your mind and body for you to be able to actually get through the wobbles. And it might even mean, okay, cool, I can actually sit down and write some ideas now and not panic, to get you started on the process of building a course. We're going to bring it all together because this will help you get out of your own way. We're going to connect the heart and the mind. So most people, when they're thinking they're going to build a course, they set the goal, I'm going to build this course and it's going to be all these super cool logic things. But it's not connected to the heart. You haven't actually worked your way through the brain in a space where your hindbrain is calm and secure and it knows that it's safe to go ahead and build this course for you. So I would suggest when you want to sit down and start working on your course, you pop your hand on your heart. This is step one. Hand on your heart and think, what does my heart want to achieve? Because the heart and mind connection is super powerful. There's neurons in the heart. Like when they discover that, they're like, oh, wow, that's cool. It's actually a huge thinking part of our body, like the gut. And there's so much research being done on that. So pop your hand on your heart and go, what do I want to create? So let's get this working. Because here's the thing with the hindbrain. You've got your heart's desires and you're sending this message from your heart up through your brain. So it's starting at the base level of your mind. It's starting at your hindbrain. Your hindbrain, as you can see on the chart, filters from an instinctive perspective. It's that keeping you safe part. But here's the thing. If you have fear, doubt, danger, suspicion, uncertainty, the risk of boredom or complication with the idea of creating a course, your hindbrain is going to delete that idea. It's going to distract you. It's going to sabotage you. Any of those things, because your hindbrain will actually delete 9 out of 10 ideas that you have because it doesn't deem them safe, because it doesn't know. So this is why you need to shift your language. Even if you don't believe it yet, shift your language around the thought of building a course, about what it means, what can't happen. Think about what could happen. Think about how it could look, how it will feel. Start reassuring the security in your mind that it is safe for you to do it. You have no fear. You're confident. Get rid of the doubt and the danger and the suspicion, the uncertainty, we've got to let that go. Because otherwise we're fighting with our mind to even get started. And this is why, and it's not only courses, with so many things, we don't even start. Even though we say we want to, and we don't really understand why. So when you have a random idea, always write it down, just in case your hindbrain's decided it's not safe or it's not confident that it's the good idea and it deletes it from your mind. So you've got your hand on your heart. You've decided, yep, I really want to build this course. You're getting that idea up through the hind brain. You've been saying, it's safe for me to build a course. I'm confident that this is what I need to do for my business. I'm certain it's going to be really interesting to do. It's going to be easy because I know who to ask and I can ask the right questions to get the answers that I need. Your hindbrain's like, cool, we can let that idea move through to the next level of the brain. And if you practice, gratitude and appreciation around the thought and the idea around what a course could mean to your life, your business, your clients, it's another way to help get that idea through. Because then we move into the midbrain. You must be able to find images of what you want for reference. This part of the brain, it pattern matches. So if you don't know what an online course could look like even a webinar like this is a great sample of what an online course could look like. It's got slides, it's got words, it's got somebody facilitating, talking, you're allowed to ask questions, you're engaged, that kind of thing. So start jumping on Thinkific and having a look at people's courses. Get this idea, this image in your mind, because we think in pictures. So start thinking in pictures about how it could look and how amazing it could look and how grateful you are to be able to deliver your content to your amazing clients. And be so grateful and appreciative, because when you're in a space of gratitude and appreciation, your hindbrain's not getting triggered to stop you because it feels like it's good, right? So your hand on your heart, you've set the goal, you've filtered it the right way, you've got the right language around it. Your hindbrain's like, yeah, that's cool. Your midbrain, you can start to see images of how it could look as we think in pictures. And then it gets up to the hindbrain. Now the hindbrain, our intelligence, that's our logic, our willpower, our higher seat of consciousness. It's like the little doing part. But for it to really be able to do things with ease, you've got to get it through your hindbrain, through your midbrain. You've got to be calm about it, grateful, have an image. And then your hindbrain, it can kick on in and it can take the action. So this is why setting a purely logical goal doesn't actually work with our brains. So this is why our language is important. And this is why, we do all the things that we do to be able to calm our mind and work with our own body to be able to really successfully get started. Are there any questions about that? Because you're welcome to unmute yourself if you like. This is a Zoom meeting, not a Zoom webinar, so you're always free to unmute and ask some questions. Anybody? Nope. Hopefully that means I've explained that really, really well. So these are the first steps, because I used to always think, well, I need to decide I just need to decide to do it, and I just have to do it, and I have to get over it. And I used to beat myself up mentally and probably a little bit emotionally, because it was so hard to do. And I couldn't understand why. Now, there's also the next level that you would work with is okay, do I have beliefs around this? You can get some coaching around it. You can start really exploring it and releasing it. But if you can get yourself into the space where your heart is really connected to the goal and you've got the right language around it and you're grateful and appreciative for the opportunity, you can see how it can look, and then you've got the support to take the next logical steps to start the building process, all of a sudden, course building will be really, really easy, right? Anyway, that was my process. This is they're the core things I wanted to talk to you guys about. When before I was offering online programs, I was limited in my earning capacity. And we're business ladies here. Let's be honest. We want to serve and we want to make some money. We want to have our time back and we want to be able to do all of that. Now, I love having online courses. I can serve 8, 12, 30 people in one program, and I'm not risking burning myself out. This is why having an online program is actually really important. And this is why you guys are here, because you know that it's important. You needed that first little step to really, for some of you, to give you an understanding of your physiology to get you moving. So once you move past your mindset wobble, which I hope you guys can actually really start actually doing now, you get rid of those, start looking at your beliefs, get some coaching around that, and then your next step. So if you need help with the following: clearing beliefs, creating copy and opt-ins so you can find your tribe and find your ideal niche market. If you're not sure what course to build first, if you need help with technology, or you need to know how to launch a program, my first e-course. This is what I run. This is all about course building. The first module, I've put the cover of the course up for you, is mindset. So we would take what we've learned from here and we would actually do some more activities and go a little bit deeper in changing our thinking and our processing and supporting ourselves to have that confidence to be able to go out and go, boom, I'm ready. Let's do this. Now, I'm going to give you a quick run through. I'm not going to bore you with all of the details. If you know that this is potentially your next right step, like, you can get in touch with me. I'll share a link for the course. That's fine. But basically, my first e-course, we do the mindset. We look at all the technology. We look at copy, content, opt-ins, because you need a list to promote to, right? It's nice to have a list. I don't have a huge list, but I love my list. My list is awesome. Then what to build and when, how that could look, techniques for building. That's all right, Julie. No worries. Love your work. And all that kind of stuff. So if you actually need the support to be able to go through the full process, that's what my first e-course is. So it's a 10-week live coaching call model. It's $370 to get started. There's 2 more monthly payments of $370. You have full access to the course, like from the moment you make the first payment. You get access to me via a Facebook group and coaching calls. I did a beautiful session today with a lady, and she was amazed that, you know, with everything that she does, she could create a course. I really want to support you guys. If you're not already doing this, or if you need more support to get out there, I help the helpers. I want to help you guys do this, because I know I've come through the other side of where it was like crying and sobbing hysterically at the thought of having to run a live online program, like, because I might make a mistake, to like, I love it. I'm like, I can't imagine not doing it now. Because I feel like we're all having it's kind of a bit of a one-sided conversation, but I feel like I'm working with family and friends now because I'm so relaxed and love it. I want you guys to feel like that. Anyway, you will get an email out with a link to the recording. You'll get a link to Thinkific. You can go and have a look at it. Any questions you can ask me. So let's hand it over to questions. You please unmute if you want to talk anything through. That's it. Like, this is not. So we had a conversation today, me and this lady, and she's like, "Well, how long does stuff have to go for?" And I'm like, "Well, how long do you need it to go for?" You know, most people say webinars need to go for an hour. I'm like, yeah, I'm really conscious of people's time. So if there's any questions, I know there's some people that have done some work with me still on the call. Like, if you have any questions for where you're at, feel free to jump on. I've done my little spiel. If you're ready and need help to build a course, let's talk.